Hare Krishna. So sorry, last week I could not join. I'm feeling better now. I think it was just too hot.
Would the Brahmins learn Sanskrit?
Huh? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, just more philosophy.
Just like I'm translating all the books. Similarly, any book of knowledge can be translated into different languages. Not that one has to learn Sanskrit. Why?
Not necessarily. So in this Varnashrama college, there would be two divisions: Varna, learning a
So this about Sanskrit. Many, like whenever he says not necessarily, like sometimes devotees can say not necessarily means no. Or what he is trying to see for Brahmanas, would the Brahmana learn Sanskrit? Not necessarily. Meaning it is not necessary, but some may want to learn. So it's like there are different kinds of Brahmanas too. Like some are teaching, let's say, like Srila Prabhupada will say later, teaching martial arts or teaching um, maybe Vastu Shastra or uh, some like just philosophy or some other teaching subjects which don't require mastery of Sanskrit language. So that is not necessarily, I mean, they don't need to learn. But let's say somebody is a Yagic Brahmana or basically performing yagyas, even though it is not recommended, but still some yagyas are performed for samskaras and such, some small scale yagyas. And maybe Ayurveda, so or astrology. So they may need to learn Sanskrit, of really going into deep into translating different Vedic arts or knowledge into English. So they would need to learn Sanskrit. So it's not like everybody now, because he says not necessarily means oh sub Sanskrit should not be subject, but still again it's for the right varnas, right occupation, they would need to learn, but it is not a necessity. Other people can just learn from the people who have translated.
First of all, Varna and ashram. Then when the
So this particular thing we missed it. I just want to read it again. So Hidananda says, so this in this Varnashrama there will be two divisions, Varna and Ashrama, learning a material. Prabhupada immediately says, first of all Varna and Ashrama, when the Varna is perfectly in order, then Ashrama. So this is one of the most, like I have taken this as one of the most important indications of how Varnashrama college should be started, where first of all Varna has to be designated, who is in which Varna. Ti- and that is very important till the materially people are satisfied, people know who they are, then they can also select the wife accordingly. Not just select the wife, but also the mindset also becomes that and settled. Then one has proper understanding of, oh, what am I doing in life, what makes me happy, what doesn't make me happy, where do I need it to be fulfilled by my partner. So many things like get adjusted in the consciousness once one is properly situated in one's own occupation. And then the life partner is basically, then you realize, okay, really realize, okay, this is where I'm lacking, and this kind of person would be the best. Of course, if there is elders are also helping in selection of the right match, they would also see, okay, this is what is satisfied, this is what is lacking, and so the partner should be of that kind of uh, value or qualities. So Varna is first of all.
and the Varna is perfectly in order, then ashram.
Um, So
Ashram is specially meant for spiritual advancement. And Varna is general division. It must be there in the human society, and there are animals. If Varna is not there, then this is a society of animals. And when the Varna is working perfectly, then we give them ashram, Varnas. That is later on.
So it's a very hard thing he's saying about they are only animals if one is not in Varna. And so why does he say that? Why animals? I mean, there are so many arts, crafts, so many music, so many people are doing so many things. And why one is considered an animal if one is not designated in one's Varna? And it says Varna if it must be there in the ashrama is one thing, but Varna is general division. It must be there in the human society or they are only animals. So how I have understood it is that the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So he has already made the Varna or the occupations. He has already made these divisions, and he has designated the duty in the human society to train people accordingly because the tendencies are already existing. When one is not trained, then it is just working on its own, which is like how it is in animal society. Like it, when we have like a flock of cows, you know. So each cow has a different tendency already. Animals have also tendencies. It's not just in human society the tendencies are there. You know, some one of the cow is a leader. Another cow is also like Kunti is our leader. So she's always looking out for everyone, protecting everyone, leading everything. She's always the first one to go anywhere. And then there are followers, and then there are people who are looking out for the leader. So it's the tendencies. Of course, it is very stunted in cows, but the tendencies of these tendencies of somebody who is a thought leader, somebody who is a material leader, manager, somebody who is into finance, and somebody who is a general and arts and everything. It's general worker and arts. It is always there in human society. Even in animals, we have seen to a certain extent. So when the human society is not trained, even though it is already made by God, if it is not trained, they are just like animals. That's what he's, as I've understood, this is what he's meaning.
First, they should be taught a skill.
Yeah. That first of all, the whole society must be divided into four varnas, otherwise there will be chaotic condition. That is what is the position now. What is he, what he has to do, one does not know. And there are so many unemployment. But if you organize the society into varnas, there will be no question of unemployment.
But from the very beginning, there's to be taught Bhagavad Gita.
Huh?
From the very beginning, we teach Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. And our position is that we are above varnas. But for management or ideal society, we are introducing it. We, so far we are concerned, Krishna consciousness, we are above varnas. But to show the people that we are not escaping, we can take part in any order of life. That is our position. Just like if I brush somebody's shoes, that does not mean I'm shoemaker. My position is the same. But to show how to do it, just like a servant is doing, the master is, you cannot do it. Just see. That's why I show you how to mop. So I am not a mopper, but I am showing how to mop. So our position is like that. We do not belong to any Varna or ashram. But we have to show this rascal. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he was per- perfect Vaisnava. But when he was king, he was fighting like anything. Not that, I am now become Vaishnava, I cannot kill. What is it? He killed like anything. When the Jakhas attacked his kingdom, he was killing like anything that the Jakharaj came and asked him to pardon this. He immediately accepted. So he wanted to give him some benediction, that you are so great that simply on my request you have stopped killing these rascals, Jakhas. So you can take some benediction from me. He said, that's all right, thank you. You give me the benediction that I may be a pure lover of Krishna. That's all. This benediction he asked. Although he was so powerful and the Jokharaj, he could give him the wealth of the whole universe. But he begged, thank you very much. You give me this benediction that I may remain a pure devotee of Krishna. This is Vaishnava. He is doing everything, but his aim is to please Krishna. Similarly, even if we take to Varnasrama, we do not belong to any. Just like Krishna says, Maya system, I have inaugurated, but Krishna has nothing to do with Varnas. Similarly, if we act as Varnasrama, still we have nothing to do with the Varnas.
So this particular point, we have Srila Prabhupada covered it in the March 12th morning walk too. And we extensively covered it, including in the summary talk that, discussion that we did on one of those series. I think it was fifth or something, series number 5, where we talked about that there'll be two kinds of devotees. It is or people. It is Varnashrama college is for. One is for people who are newly coming and who are under the mode still. So they would have to act under they have to be designated this Varna and such. But somebody who is becoming little more by practice and advanced, and they are coming above the three modes, which will be by which will be uh, by the by the way of happiness, less of anxiety, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kangshati, and lamentation and distress and such things are reducing, and more happiness is coming. That's immediate symptom Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, to know one is going above the modes. And then one acts mostly for but for showing example. One would take up roles. One will be able to take up roles without so much of a difficulty, and one can then show by example. Just like Shri Prabhupada was saying, mop floor, clean somebody's shoes, teach somebody how to fight, how to kill. You gave the example of Dhruv Maharaj. All these things a devotee would be able to do, acting in any role to teach. So that is the so that example is taking when the question was asked, should we teach Bhagavad Gita? So Bhagavad Gita teaching means becoming a devotee. So then again he's emphasizing, because he understood that devotees are still not understanding that, of course, Bhagavad Gita has to be taught. People who are not under who are still under the modes, Bhagavad Gita, everything has to be taught. But when one is coming above the modes, at that time, of course, Bhagavad Gita will be taught, and they'll be teaching Bhagavad Gita, but they can act in any of the modes. They don't really need the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita to make them function, because they're already practicing it. So that's how I understood it. Leo Prabhu, you have anything to say on this topic?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, so we covered a little bit from last time. I guess Prabhupada is definitely explaining thoroughly different parts and more into depth about what we spoke about last time. Yeah, nothing much right now so far.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So let's continue.
Prabhupada, can you say something about the training for a Brahmin?
Huh?
The training for a Brahmin?
Yes.
So it looks like now they have become more and more inquisitive now that they are thinking more and more. So Srila Prabhupada keeps going deeper and deeper. It's very interesting.
They are Sattva Samadhama. He must be truthful. He must control the senses, control the mind. Samadhama. He must be tolerant. He should not be agitated in trifle matters. Sattva Samadhama Tide Shaucham. He must be always clean. 3 times he must take bath at least. All the clothing, everything is clean. This is Brahminical training. And then he must know all what is what, knowledge and practical application and firm faith in Krishna. This is Brahman.
So what kind of practical work could we engage them in?
They will be teaching, they will be all teachers.
Oh, they'll be teachers.
Yeah, just like Dronacharya. He was Brahmin, but he was teaching military art to the Pandavas. General teacher class will be the Brahmanas. It doesn't matter what he is teaching. By the way, teaching, perfectly teaching how to become a military man. Or Arjun's fighting was due to Dronacharya. He learned it from Dronacharya. He was a Brahmin. But because he took the position of a teacher, he taught very perfectly.
So a
A
Brahmin,
Brahmana should be expert in every kind of knowledge. If requires, he'll become teacher. This is Brahman.
so a Brahmin can teach how to fight.
Yes. Brahmana means intelligent brain. So in intelligent brain, one can learn anything and teach anything.
This is all very new.
Huh?
This is very new. It seems there'll be many difficulties, so we should try to start this.
What is the difficulty? If I teach you how to
Yes, we have to.
cook, this is very difficult.
No, we have to learn it
Then
all.
similarly, that. I'm doing that. I'm teaching how to mop the floor.
Then
how
it
to-
becomes easy.
But I must know everything because I am a teacher.
So
So this is this particular this particular instruction, I have really tried to take it to heart of teach by example, and that anybody with brain can learn anything and teach, and one has to teach by example. So this is why I tried to get into it. Like I understood what Srila Prabhupada is trying to tell here, that the Varnashrama college is not a, a theoretical college, a school, but one has to teach by example. That's the main instruction that I understood from this passage. And specifically, he then explained it further, and he explains that Dronacharya, who was a martial arts teacher in Mahabharata time, 5,000 years back, and he was a Brahmin. Drona Acharya, he was a teacher. Acharya means teacher, and Drona is his name. So Drona Acharya, he was the teacher of the Pandavas and the Kauravas also. He was teaching Arjuna, Yudhishthir, Bhima, everybody. He taught how to fight with all kinds of weapons and arts and everything, the strategy, the military fighting strategy. Also, he taught the Kauravas too. Duryodhana and everybody too. He was everybody's teacher, but he was a Brahmin. So they went to his ashram to learn all these, just like they went to his Varnashrama college department that to learn. So from that understanding, then I think, oh, I see. So for a Brahmin, if I have to teach, if that is what is required for me to teach, let's say Ayurveda, then I'll have to learn Ayurveda perfectly, he says, learn perfectly, teach perfectly, and learn really well, and then teach it. I understood that I need to, there was a lot of, we have a lot of issues with the financial and other things. So I thought, oh, I need to learn basically how to learn Krishi, Goraksha, and Vanijyam, all the Vaishya activities for the stomach. So that's how I understood, okay, this is the initial thing. Because of later on, I can get into it, why I got into these Vaishya activities first rather than any martial activities or Brahminical activities and such. So as far as Krishi is concerned, so I started getting into learning how to do farming and Goraksha also, and then trading. Vanijya is kind of trading. Banking, I didn't have money to do banking, but Vanijya is also trading of, so started trading. So all these activities I had to learn, and started feeling more and more, oh, I can teach what I'm learning, and I can have apprentice people, and also they can also learn from me. And by example, of course, I don't know perfectly, but the the idea which I am trying to emphasize is that Srila Prabhupada is saying in Varnashrama college, teaching needs to be by showing by example, not so much theoretical knowledge. That is part of it, but practical is where the emphasis should be.
For example, if I become a teacher at Varnashram, let's say the first teacher at the Varnashram College, then I have to also become expert at how to fight, how to.
Not all of you, but some of you must be. Must learn the art of fighting. But in a practical, you are not going to fight. If required, you can fight. I say that we are above all these borders, but we must train others, or ourselves also, for material activities, everything, under these divisions.
2-3 things I got from it. So, so I'll be teacher in Varnashrama, say the first teacher at the Varnashram college. So I just noted that first teacher, as soon as one says the first teacher, one is kind of, has a little distinction bead. I'm not, he must have, whatever, let's forget the person who is saying, but just the mentality, I'll be the first teacher, we should just be whatever, one of the teachers always, not the first in anything. First is always Krishna and the great devotees, acharyas. So the other thing which he's talking about is some of you, Srila Prabhupada says some of you, and then he again comes back to the same thing, because I think he understands what is happening is that the disciples are not able to understand what it means when one is going into a role play for the purpose of teaching by example. Not that one is going to become a kshatriya or whatever one is teaching. So again, he emphasized this point.
For example, in New Vrindavan, we have Brahmins that are very expert at tilling the soil and taking care of cows.
Yes.
And they could travel around and teach others how to do that as well.
Yes. He is Brahmin, but he's teaching how to take care of the cows and blah.
It's not that one teacher has to teach everything.
Huh?
It's not that one teacher has to teach everything.
No.
Oh, I see. So it,
So it's slowly people are getting understanding. Even this mentality, so if it's not that one teacher has to teach everything, it should be understood, no? That why should one need to learn everything? It's just the mentality. Let's forget who is speaking. I'm just pointing out that the mentality of mentality ought to have been, oh, it's so exciting that we can do it together. If one person can learn this, another person can learn that. Instead, the first thinking was, oh, I can learn everything and teach, and I'll be the first, and I'll be the main person teaching, and that kind of mentality. So a little contamination, but it's okay. Everyone will get purified. So
a Brahmin teacher should become expert in a particular subject and then teach that. Yeah. It's very exciting, Prabhupada, because all the present time and the
Now, the thing is, actually, at the present moment, they are Sudras or less than Sudras. They are not human beings. The whole population of the world. It doesn't matter whether it is Western or Eastern. There is a position. So, unless they are trained up, so the society is already in chaos and it will go on still more in chaos. It will be hell. How people will live. And these rascals are being elected as government men, and they only making budget how to tax. So one side there is no rent, one side there is no rice, especially in India, and one side heavy tax. So they will be all confused. They have already become confused. So in the confusion state, it will be very difficult to make them Krishna conscious. Therefore, preliminary help should be given. Yeah, that they should not be in chaos and confusion. Otherwise, how the brain will work?
No one can give rapt attention without
Yes.
peace of mind.
Yes. Our main aim is to how to give them Krishna consciousness. But if they are already disturbed in every respect, then how they will take it? Therefore, we are taking this subject to help him to come to the Krishna consciousness. And this is the method, Varnasrama.
So I have taken this instruction as one of the I say keep saying main instructions, but that is how it is, that he is giving in nutshell, like in a brief way, he is giving so many important instructions on how to actually start the Varnashram college and what's the concept behind it, whom it is for. He's so succinct and is so eloquent, Srila Prabhupada. So it is so, like in few words, he gives like lifetimes instructions, which we can't even finish in lifetimes. So here when he says, we heard the same instruction at the beginning of the March 12th conversation too. The morning walk in the recorded part, where Srila Prabhupada says, well, they are harassed, so they will be population are harassed, so they are going to go in the go to forest, and so they want to know what to do. So so if we remember the summary which we did on, I think the series number 5, if I'm not mistaken, it is in that we summarize the chapter. So the March 12th conversation, in that we discuss that there will be two kinds of people who are the audiences or the students for the Varnashram college. One was these people who are harassed, people who are becoming so disturbed by the government, in fact, and the climate and the government and the general atmosphere in living in this basically city environment or towns, so that they want to leave their jobs or other things, and they want to do something else. They want to find a peaceful way to live and higher purpose of life. They are just rat race they don't want to be part of. So those kind of people is what Varnashram college is mainly for, the one part. And the other part we discussed then that Srila Prabhupada is talking about, and he'll start talking about more in this conversation, where he talks about students, like children of the of or young devotees who were joining as who were chanting and sankirtan and getting purified. Now they were ready to be taught in a proper varna. After a couple of years, 3 years, then automatically one starts to know now after some control of the senses, now he's fit to be designated and work in a society. So that was those were the two. So children of the devotees, they are becoming devotees, so they have to be they will be taught, and also devotees who have joined the movement, who and they want to understand what to do now, my occupation should be while practicing Krishna conscious. So this he comes back here to the first section of the students, and Vishnujan Maharaj, he makes the point that when in response to when Srila Prabhupada says it is there will be so much disturbed and chaos and confusion among them, they can't be peaceful, they can't give rapt attention to hearing, to be peacefully here and peacefully contemplate and think about the higher purpose of life, because as soon as they get up they're thinking of money, this problem, this issue, that issue. So how can they have peace of mind to really think and practice devotion service with heart, and engage their family and other people around them into Krishna consciousness. So for that purpose, also Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing, yes, for Varnashram colleges, for those people, so that they can be more peaceful and then they can come to practice devotional service. That's why he calls it, therefore preliminary help should be given here.
So just to clarify, Prabhupada, I want to make sure I have it very clear. That if someone comes to a Varnashram college, even though this may be preliminary help, in general, you made some exceptions, but in general, when they come to our college, they have to follow the 4 regular principles, and also learn something about Bhagavad Gita, and then side by side they learn a
4 regulatory principles compulsory.
Yes.
But if some of the Kshatriya or the Shudra,
Yes.
they want, so that is our prescription, go to the forest and kill some animal and eat there. That's all. You can kill one boar, some disturbing animals, you can kill. You can kill some tiger, like that. Learn to kill, no non-violence. Learn to kill. Here also, as soon as you'll find a Kshatriya, a thief, a rogue, unwanted element in the society, kill him. That's all. Finish. Kill him. Bas. Finish. The others will see, oh, the ruler is very strong. The others will, one killing will be lesson for many hundreds and thousands. No mercy, kill him. That's all. That was the system in Kashmir about 100 years ago. If somebody has stolen, cut his hand. Bas, he cannot steal anymore. So one cutting hand means finish in that part of the world, no more stealing.
So this is very interesting. So he started talking about, the question was that, oh, so should they be following the 4 regular principles? So this question was asked earlier too in the same morning walk, just about 15 minutes back. And Srila Prabhupada answered in exactly the same manner again. That is compulsory regulatory principles, but there are exceptions for Kshatriyas and Shudras. And then he again goes about Kshatriyas of killing and learning how to kill, just like we discussed before. And so I again want to emphasize this 4 regulatory principles compulsory. When he says compulsory, of course it is compulsory, but just like in the context of when somebody is being people, let's say the first audience we were talking about earlier, And just before this, that people are harassed and this is a preliminary help and everything. So when they are coming new, no, they will not be able to immediately follow. But that is the point. Immediately may not be able to follow. But the point is that we should arrange it that gradually they get purified and they understand and they want to follow the regulative principles and they come to the aim, which is to have the freedom of not be under these modes by which they are committing these sinful activities, so that the four regulative principles give us freedom. So automatically they would want to follow. So the aim is there, and we make them by association gradually. We bring them to the platform where they don't. So they start following the four regulative principles. So in that is how we also gave the example of Srila Prabhupada doing. He started himself teaching Sanskrit in 1966 in New York, from the Second Avenue, 26th Avenue, and these people he was teaching Sanskrit through Chaitanya, through Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or something like that, and he was not saying, oh, first you have to follow four regulative principles, then I will teach you Sanskrit. No, he was giving them the association on the pretext of teaching Sanskrit, by which gradually they were getting purified and they asked for initiation and all those things. So similarly, you have to follow his example of how to go about doing this, the aim which is written here by he's instructing here. Then the next point is about Kshatriya training and killing. So one killing is he kills his animals. Specifically, we discussed earlier too that the 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 animals who are disturbing sages and other people who inhabitants of the forest. So he kills them to protect them and also to practice how to kill and blood and all these emotions. We used to make a little bit hard to overcome that emotion sentiment of people, the person who is getting killed feeling so much pain and distress while being killed. But as a duty, one would kill and then the heart doesn't need to get hard, and can remain compassionate. And killing is for protecting others. So hence one would be able to kill. Srila Prabhupada gave the example of Dhruv Maharaj also killing, the yakshas. He was killing like anything. And but as a devotee, actually Bhagavatam says whoever he killed, they attained liberation, or they advanced, because he was giving a lot of mercy while killing also. Like Krishna, when he killed all the in front any demon he kills, and everybody who got and who died while in the battle of Kurukshetra, they all attained their original position. They got liberated, and they attained their original position in the Vaikuntha Loka. So killing by great devotees, by Krishna, is not the same as killing us trying to kill. Even if, let's say, a Kshatriya goes and kills animal in the forest, that is not the same as a devotee Kshatriya kills an animal. So another point he makes is about this thing about, let's say, capital punishment. When is it necessary? How is it necessary? What happens? Why capital punishment is done? We'll cover it later too much, but here he talks about that if one makes an example of very strong ruler of making a example out of any kind of disturbance in the society, then people will not do this and ever again. So let's keep going.
How would the Kshatriyas kill the animals?
Huh?
How would they kill? Guns or bow and arrow?
That as it is suitable. It is not that, because the Kshatriyas were killing by bows and arrows formally. You have to continue that. That is another foolishness. If you can kill easily by guns, take the gun. Just like formerly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked on the street. There was no aeroplane. I did not use it. And does it mean that I shall have to follow that? I must take the jet engine if it is available. Sorry. If somebody criticizes, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked on leg and you are traveling in the jet plane. So I have to take that idea. These are rascals. When you have to work, you have to work with the greatest facility. That's all. Now I've got the facility of the talking and microphone. So why should I not take it? It will be recorded, it will be heard by so many others. I'm speaking to 4 or 5 men. It can be heard by a big crowd.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. So we are doing that, right? You're hearing now.
400 men.
So we should perpetuate this technical skill of.
No, we are not going to, but if somebody is interested in doing, so we take it, make the best use of it. Just like we do not want money, but they are having money by so many ways. So we take their money and consecrate them. We can sit down here and chant Hare Krishna. We don't require that time. But these rascals are accumulating money for wine and women. Take their money somewhere or other and be the temple. And invite them. Come and see.
So this is a very, very important point, and let's cover this and we'll go to the other points later. I mean, the next on Wednesday in the next discussion. So this is a big point of discussion among devotees on how a Varnashrama society should look like. What should devotees do as a Varnashram society? Should one live very simply, like Srila Prabhupada also keeps saying many times, that one should live simply and then like not have some electricity, use oil lamps, and not use tractor, use cows and oxen and such bullocks, and so on and so forth, bullock carts and all those things. Or one should utilize whatever is available, including tractors, like Prabhupada is saying, I flew in planes everywhere, all over the world for preaching. Should we do that? Use whatever, all the technical advancements, whatever is there, use that, but in a to facilitate simple living in a sense. Just like, I mean, it looks like a like, how is that possible? That how can we use technical advancement for living simply? Well, this is the example which Srila Prabhupada just gave, which is that devotees were living simply. He was very simple, living very, very simply. Few change of clothes, not doing any extravagant things, but using the recorder, the latest technology in recording whatever was available at that time, and printing books, whatever at that time computers were new. So they had like big mainframe and such IBM computers printing books. So the way I understand is this apparent anomaly about how to utilize everything in Krishna's service, but also live simply and have a simple consciousness, is that one should definitely use everything, whatever the current material science is available, because it is also God given, Krishna given. So why should we not? Why should we say this science I will like, this science I will not like, this particular way of living or like of tilling without tractor and this and that is better than other when both are given by God? How to judge how much to use, which one to use is very be is been a lot of point of discussion on this and disagreements. The disagreement is not going to finish here because there are good points on both sides. This disagreement of how much to use the material facilities is not just among devotees of Lord Krishna and such in this society, but even among the Amish and Mennonites. Because even among the Amish people, how much to use the technology is they make different groups then. Somebody who wants to use electricity, Mennonites especially, somebody who does not, somebody who wants the telephone or not telephone, somebody who wants to use a vehicle to move here and there or not. It's they separate from each group. They go to a different group. That here in this group we follow this much electricity usage, so it's not going to finish here. And what I understand is it also depends a lot on each community and each circumstance and each, and because some people are different, so people will gravitate towards what they find most comfortable utilizing material sciences. But a good example of seeing how Srila Prabhupada was doing it is he himself was living very simply, but using all the latest technology for the purpose for propagation, not for himself, but propagation. So, in that sense, if we look at it, like our car, we may not try to get fancy cars and do certain those things. But if it comes to getting, let's say, a tractor, we should get a very good tractor because that will help us plow and do so many other activities which we do. Initially, when we got the farm, I was not trying to buy a tractor because I was thinking, oh, why should I get tractor? Because tractor means so much people don't work, and no oxen can be used, and so much instruction which Srila Prabhupada gives, which Amish also say, oh, we don't need to use the tractor because the horses can do the work, and so many people will not be engaged. So now, why should we do that? And the personal interaction with the horse will not be there, and so many arguments they have against using a tractor. But I realized that I can't survive without using a tractor. There are so many heavy work to be done, including lifting hay or um, or just so much of plowing or pulling things or moving earth here there, where yes, 10 people work a tractor can do, but that is also an advantage because where are the workers so many, and how to maintain so many workers? It's like impossible in this country, at least in the US, Europe, European countries. India also, it's becoming difficult because of so many other reasons. So how much to use for oneself? Let's say we should live very simply, not in extravagant way. Ha- bhala na khaibe, bhala na paribe. Lord Chaitanya has instructed his followers, don't eat very luxuriously and don't wear any things clothes luxuriously, which is the principle that we should not live very luxuriously. We should live very simply, but it, just the basic things we can like electricity always on and fancy so much lighting and everything. Instead, we can keep a simple light from the electricity from the connection from outside, which helps us move around and do our thing. House, small one room, two room, three rooms if the bigger family is there, that's sufficient, not like a big mansion. That kind of thing is a simple living, which is basic necessities one can do, where one can focus one's mind and time into thinking about Krishna and contemplation and so on and so forth. But as far as the propagation of God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, or our profession is concerned, where one can do much better, like using internet, latest technology, even AI, so many activities which are coming up more and more, we can utilize now. As long as a person is able to do that without getting going into mode of ignorance and passion. So it depends on each person to individual too. So that's how individual wise and a community wise it may just be different for different people. There's no standard understanding of how much to utilize and how not, just like we do in our lives too. I think we are finished. So we're getting, so Leo Prabhu, you have anything to add to this?
That's it's a lot of influx of information. Where to start? I guess, well, AI is one of those big things, when it comes down to the dilemma of it. I guess also like the protocols and everything. But Prabhupada, I remember, I don't know the exact quote, but he did say even computers could even be used for propagating Krishna consciousness. And I recall, like, computers could even chant at that time, if I recall correctly. I'm sorry. So with AI, I could just see right now where preaching could be done, because Prabhupada always wanted distribution of books. That was his main always priority, instead of having big temples and that type of stuff. So if utilizing AI, that type of way of preaching, reach more people, that could be definitely one. But also, thing is, right now the people who are controlling AI, they're doing it for different reasons and for mundane reasons. So Prabhupada says, just like right here in the lecture, these people, either way, they're using this type of stuff and benefiting for utilizing for other mundane measures. Why not use it for Krishna consciousness? So I think that could be same applied for artificial intelligence. And yeah, so everything what Prabhupada goes through is, I'm seeing that it really deals with intelligence and quality. So these are the two conditions really, when it comes down to, for the people that are distressed and also falling under the four, because in order for you to leave the cities, because you have a distaste for this material life, you're becoming, you're in a certain type of condition that you're not supposed to live in, and you're realizing it. And well, I remember when I approached Krishna consciousness, I had this taste for it. And there's also four reasonings to approach Krishna consciousness: is distress or disturbance, being inquisitive, looking for the absolute truth, and I forgot the other. Oh, and wealth. So those are the four qualities I would say for individuals that want to join and cultivate Krishna consciousness. I was all four. So there might be people who have less or more.
Yeah.
So these type of individuals would definitely partake, and then they will have to go through like this filtering of tests or preliminary. I think Vishnu John said that.
Yes.
So yeah, so I would say that is definitely one of those aspects where it's always about quality and intelligence, whether it being artificial intelligence and utilizing for technology, and also for the individual jiva.
Definitely. Just like people say, oh, why should you use um, AI? Demoniac. Yeah, but what about Google search? When it came out, it was, it's like that. AI is just the next step after Google search. It is Google search. If we understand what it is like great. I mean, what kind of algorithm it is by which all the so much information is being collated together, indexed. I mean, just imagine how like finding a needle in a haystack. And the Google, the search engines are doing. They're traveling all over the world. So I mean, every house. Can you believe how many? Almost maybe a billion houses there, maybe, and they're going everywhere and collecting information, and then we ask some question and they retrieve the answer. It's just mind-boggling, the kind of intelligence which is required, built through programming to retrieve all this information and make it available to at our fingertips. Then the phones, just like small phone, it is doing such a computing power, so much computing. And so not just using Google, but there's so much computing going on, and taking photos and such. So what about that? I mean, because that has become like normal. So it is taken as, oh, because it is you, people are used to it, so it is not taken as abnormal. But then because AI is coming now, oh, it is abnormal, it is demoniac, or this is too much. But what about Google search 20 years? Even computers, I remember in 90, I think it was 88 or something, 1988, I was in college, and the college had a bank. And of course, they were that time there were no computers in banks. So then they wanted to introduce computers in the banking, in that bank in the college. Oh, they all the bank employees, they were on strike. Our jobs will be taken away. This is not good. This is not good. But of course, then they, the bank pushed through it, and then everyone adopted, and then it has become the part and parcel of the banking sector. So when many times new things come, it is, uh, which is a not. All of these are actually not. How to say it? They require a lot of mode of passion and ignorance to develop. All these electronics, computers, AI, Google search, it's not connecting with mode of goodness things, activities. So it is more in the demoniac thinking. It is not like touching um, other plants or animals or interacting with people, which actually could enhance more mode of goodness activities, thought processes. But we we are living in this age. We are somehow, by our karma and by our past desires, we ended up being born in this age. Now we cannot just pine for, oh, I should have been born there, I want to live in a world which doesn't have this, doesn't have that. Okay, when it happens like that in the external world, then great. Otherwise, we have to live what we are given with, not just not just as a second grade thing, but we desired it. Otherwise we won't have been here. So let us finish our desires by utilizing all of these and cleanse it up also, while also utilizing whatever is required in this world. So we can't just completely, not we can't like kick things away that, oh, these are demoniac, oh, but these two are the points, that our personal life should remain simple, like simplest possible denominator. Like we come down to, okay, no, below this I cannot live. That becomes our basic necessity. And then we go like that. Not that new and new things, technological advancement keep happening, and we also change our lifestyle based on that. those new activities should only be for the occupation, including for preaching and bringing people to God conscious, and our profession. All those other activities only, that limit we need to distinguish between these two, so that we don't get so much enamored by these and become like servant of these technologies and these different advanced, so-called advancement and such. Because as soon as I have experienced that as soon as we start adding these in our own life, like computer has become part and parcel. So it is very mode of ignorance. It pulls one into mode of ignorance, very, very much. So anyway, we can keep discussing this. This is a big topic of discussion in our Varnashram college. How to implement, what to teach, how much to teach, how to teach. I mean, because practically I'm trying to understand how to. We are going overboard, but this is such a big topic of consternation even in my consciousness. So just like I'm trying to see Krishi, how can we actually do the